Homeless man was humiliated by a rich woman. The next day, the wealthy woman was shocked when she discovered what the homeless man did with her daughter. On a sunny Friday morning, in a bustling urban center, the paths of wealthy woman Clara Montgomery and a homeless man crossed in what seemed like a mundane encounter. Clara, an elegant and haughty woman in her 50s, was running late for an important meeting. Her luxurious black sedan was parked in a reserved spot, and she hurriedly carried a designer bag with a look of urgency. As Clara walked towards the building where she worked, a man with a graying beard, tattered clothes, and tired eyes approached. His name was John, known by the downtown regulars as a kind-hearted homeless man, always polite despite his difficult circumstances. With a hopeful look, he reached out his hand to Clara. "Good morning, ma'am. Could you spare some change for a coffee?" John's voice was soft but carried the weight of many years of hardship. Clara stopped, staring at him with a mixture of surprise and disdain. "Do you think I carry loose change?" she replied, her tone cold and cutting. "Why don't you get a job instead of begging? People like you just want to live off others." John, embarrassed, lowered his head and took a step back. The pain in his eyes was evident, but he said nothing. He just thanked her silently and walked away, looking for a less crowded spot to continue his day. Clara continued on her way without looking back, certain she had done the right thing. The day went on for Clara with her usual meetings and commitments, while John struggled to find something to eat. But something was about to happen that would change both of their lives forever. The next morning, Clara woke up feeling uneasy. Her concern was confirmed when her daughter Emily did not come down for breakfast. Emily, a 20-year-old, had always been a model daughter, studious and dedicated. But recently she had been going through a rebellious and questioning phase. "Emily, come down now," Clara shouted, climbing the stairs and knocking on her daughter's bedroom door. When the door opened, she found the room empty, the bed unmade, and no clue where Emily might be. Desperate, Clara grabbed the phone and started calling Emily's friends, but no one had seen her. Hours passed and Clara's anxiety only grew. Then she received an anonymous message on her phone. "Your daughter is safe, but you need to learn a lesson in humility." Confused and scared, Clara rushed to the police station, where she was greeted by Officer Harris, a middle-aged man with experience and a serious demeanor. "Officer, my daughter is missing. I received this message and I don't know what to do." Clara showed the message to Officer Harris, who examined it closely. "We'll investigate, Mrs. Montgomery. But I need you to stay calm and cooperate with us. It might be someone trying to extort money." Meanwhile, in an abandoned house on the city's outskirts, Emily was sitting on an old mattress, surrounded by some cans of food and water. John, the homeless man who had been humiliated by Clara the day before, was there, but not as a kidnapper. He had found Emily passed out on the street, apparently drugged, and brought her to a safe place. When Emily woke up, scared and confused, John calmly explained, "I'm not going to hurt you. You were in danger, and I brought you here. Your mother must be worried." Emily, still shaken, recognized John from the central square. "You're the homeless man my mom humiliated yesterday? Why are you helping me?" John smiled with a melancholic air. "Everyone deserves compassion, young lady. Your mother might need to learn that." While Clara dealt with the despair and guilt of not paying more attention to her daughter, John and Emily began to talk about their lives. Through tears, Emily spoke about the pressure she felt at home, the unattainable expectations, and her desire to escape that oppressive reality. "My mom is a good person, but she's so focused on work and status that she sometimes forgets I'm a person, not a trophy," Emily confided, as John listened attentively. John, in turn, shared a bit about his life before becoming homeless. "I was a civil engineer, you know? I had a family, a nice house, but things changed quickly. My wife died in an accident and I couldn't cope with the pain. I ended up losing my job, the house, everything. Today I live on the streets, but I still believe in people's goodness." Emily was impressed by John's story. She realized that despite appearances, everyone carries their own battles, and that compassion can make a big difference in someone's life. "You're an incredible person, John. My mom had no right to talk to you that way." As night fell, John decided to take Emily back home. "Let's go. Your mother must be very worried, and I think it's time for her to learn an important lesson." When they arrived at the Montgomery mansion, Clara was outside, surrounded by police officers. Seeing John and Emily, she ran to hug her daughter, but stopped abruptly when she saw who was with her. "You? What did you do to my daughter?" Clara shouted, but Emily interrupted her. "Mom, calm down, he saved me. I was in danger and he took care of me," Emily explained, trying to calm her mother. "You need to hear what he has to say." John stepped forward, looking directly into Clara's eyes. "Mrs. Montgomery, your daughter was passed out on the street. Something much worse could have happened. I just did what any human being should do. Help." Clara, still in shock, realized the depth of John's words. I don't know what to say." "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. In the following days, the Montgomerys' lives began to change in unexpected ways. Clara, impacted by the experience, decided to get more involved in Emily's life and also opened up to getting to know John better. She invited him to lunch at her home, something that surprised everyone, including herself. John, initially reluctant, accepted the invitation. During lunch, Clara was surprised by John's wisdom and humility. They talked at length about life, challenges, and overcoming difficulties. Emily, observing the interaction, felt a new respect for both her mother and John. "John, I didn't realize how much your words could teach me. I'm sorry for judging you so harshly that day," Clara confessed sincerely. "We all make mistakes, Mrs. Montgomery. The important thing is to learn and grow from them," John replied with a gentle smile. From that day on, Clara started getting involved in social projects, using her wealth and influence to help the less fortunate. Emily, inspired by her mother's change, also engaged in social causes, developing a strong bond of friendship with John. Time passed, and Clara and Emily began to see John as part of the family. Clara offered him a job at one of her companies, recognizing his skills as an engineer. John accepted, but with one condition: that part of his salary would go to a fund to help other homeless people. "I want my story to inspire others to never give up, no matter how difficult the situation," John explained. The change in the Montgomerys' lives was drastic. Clara and Emily spent more time together, participating in volunteer activities and charity projects. The relationship between mother and daughter strengthened, and they learned to appreciate the small things in life more. One day, while attending a charity event, Clara met an old friend, Susan, who was surprised to see John with her. "Clara, what is he doing here?" Susan asked disdainfully. Clara, with a serene smile, replied, "He's helping to change the world, Susan, and he taught us the true value of compassion and humility." The friendship between Clara, Emily, and John deepened, and they began working together on various social projects. Clara used her influence to raise funds and support, while John became a sort of ambassador for the homeless, sharing his life story at events and conferences. One of these events was particularly emotional. John, invited to speak at an international conference on poverty eradication, took the stage and shared his journey of overcoming. "I am living proof that with a little compassion and opportunity, anyone can rise again," he said, drawing emotional applause from the audience. After the event, Clara was approached by several businessmen and philanthropists interested in supporting her initiatives. She realized that her attitude had changed not only John's life, but also inspired many others to do the same. At home, Emily was radiant. "Mom, I'm so proud of you and of us. We're really making a difference." Clara, with tears in her eyes, hugged her daughter. "All this was only possible because we learned to see beyond appearances. John showed us that everyone deserves a second chance." But life, with its twists and turns, had one last surprise for Clara. One day, while going through some old documents, Clara found a letter left by her late husband. In the letter, he revealed a secret he had kept for many years. John was actually his half-brother. Stunned, Clara called John and Emily for a conversation. "I found something that will change everything," she began, her voice trembling. "John, you are my half-brother." John was in shock. "What? That's impossible," my husband explained in the letter. "He had an affair before we met, and you were born from that relationship. He never had the courage to tell the truth, but now everything makes sense." The revelation added a new layer of complexity to their lives. Clara, Emily, and John had to deal with this new reality. But the solid foundation of love and compassion they had built together helped them overcome this challenge as well. Over time, Clara and John strengthened their bond even more, not just as friends, but as family. The Montgomery mansion became a refuge for those in need, and many lives were transformed thanks to their generosity and dedication. Emily, inspired by everything that had happened, decided to study social work, to continue helping the less fortunate in a more professional way. She became a reference in her field, with a heart full of passion and dedication. One day, while organizing a charity event, Clara gave a speech that deeply touched everyone present. Life is full of surprises and twists, but it's in adversity that we discover our true strength. John taught us that compassion can change the world, and for that we will be forever grateful. However, an unexpected challenge arose. Clara was diagnosed with a serious illness and had to undergo a long treatment. John and Emily were by her side every step of the way, providing unconditional support and love. During this difficult phase, Clara reflected on her life and the changes that had occurred. "If I leave, I want you to continue our work. You are the proof that humanity still has hope," she said emotionally. John, holding Clara's hand, responded firmly, "I promise we will continue your legacy. You taught us the true meaning of love and solidarity." With incredible strength, Clara overcame the illness and returned to her social projects with even more determination. The Montgomery family became a symbol of resilience and hope for many. John, now recognized as a community leader, continued to inspire others with his story. Clara and Emily, by his side, worked tirelessly to create a better world for everyone. And so, the story of Clara, Emily, and John became an example of how compassion and humility can transform lives and bring light even in the darkest moments. The surprising twist that began with humiliation ended up becoming a life lesson, showing that everyone deserves a second chance and that love can heal the deepest wounds.